Israel's continued its relentless air and ground attacks on Lebanon, killing at least 24 people in Beirut's southern suburbs and towns in Mount Lebanon Governorate. Israeli forces have persistently targeted residential buildings and other civilian infrastructure. Meanwhile, Israeli authorities issued new forced evacuation orders for residents in certain areas south of Beirut ahead of more Israeli military attacks. The National Press Club in Washington, D.C., has handed its top award for press freedom to Wael Al-Dadu, Al Jazeera's Gaza bureau chief, for continuing to report on Israel's assault on the besieged territory despite enduring, quote, unspeakable personal tragedies, unquote. Just weeks into the war, Al-Dadu was live on air when he was informed his wife, his 7-year-old daughter, and 15-year-old son were killed in an Israeli airstrike on the Nuseirat refugee camp. Another of Al-Dadu's children, Hamza Al-Dadu, who was also a journalist and camera person for Al Jazeera, was then killed in a separate Israeli attack early in January. Earlier this year, Al-Dadu was evacuated from Gaza to receive medical care in Qatar for injuries he suffered while covering an Israeli attack on a school sheltering displaced Palestinians in Khan Yunis. At the time, Wael Al-Dadu's camera person, Samer Abu Daka, was left to bleed to death as Israeli forces blocked ambulances from reaching the scene for several hours. Wael Al-Dadu is now living in Germany. Donald Trump selected former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee to become U.S. ambassador to Israel. Huckabee is a leading U.S. Christian Zionist who, in recent years, has led all-inclusive evangelical Christian tours of Israel. Huckabee has openly advocated for Israel's annexation of the occupied West Bank and Gaza. During a failed run for the Republican presidential nomination in 2008, he declared, quote, "There's no really such thing as a Palestinian," adding that's been a political tool to try and force land away from Israel, unquote. In 2017, he told Politico, quote, "There's no such thing as a settlement. Their communities, their neighborhoods, their cities. There's no such thing as an occupation," he said. Meanwhile, Trump has named his longtime friend and golfing partner, Steve Witkoff, as a special envoy to the Middle East. Witkoff is a real estate investor from Florida with no foreign policy experience. Donald Trump will nominate Fox News personality Pete Hegseth to become Secretary of Defense. He co-anchors the weekend morning talk show Fox and Friends, where Trump has been a frequent guest.